that's so gross.
She hasn't touched the cat yet, has she?
Yeah. That's so
I don't know where you can see, guys. Okay. I'll point, you name.
external oblique.
External oblique.
Internal oblique. No, that's the rectus on top.
This is the rectus abdominis.
That's the transverse.
Abdominis. Rectus abdominis goes all the way up like a big ribbon, right? Okay, that's good. Go up here to our pectoral group, and we'll start with this one, the lowest one.
X something. It's the long X.
And it's an X, yeah. Well, what's the process that it's xiphoid humerales, right?
There's a long X.
Okay. Now the pectoral group, I'm just going to push the deltoid out of the way. The pectoral is all attached to the humerus up here, except for this one that goes all the way down to the antebrachium. The antebrachium is down here in the forearm. Okay. So the other ones are big triangles, and you can see they overlie each other. So there's this triangle right here, and there's another even bigger triangle underneath that. Okay. Now the problem with that is that they're laying right, just like they do in a human, but they're opposite in size. We call one the pectoralis major. That's this triangle right here. Okay. This big one underneath is the pectoralis minor, but they're laying correctly. When you do a human, we have a huge pectoralis major, and the pectoralis minor is just this little tiny thing underneath it. Okay. We don't have this one. That's been incorporated into our pectoralis major. So this is the pectoantebrachialis. Okay. The reason for that is that these are four-footed animals. Okay. They don't do what we do. They do this. Okay, but they don't do that. Okay. Never see a cat do that. Okay. So again, it's to give us that kind of maneuverability. Okay, I'm gonna push this to the side so you can see underneath here. There's the rectus abdominis coming all the way up. Okay, now this one's broken, so it's really chopped on by here. There it is. This one right here that's been chopped in half lays right over the top of it. I'm going to get my hand out of it. See that thing right there? That's the rectus thoracis. Okay. We come over to the side. And what's nice about this one is you can see the whole arrow now. If I pull up on the shaft of the arrow, you can see the head of the arrow right there. Okay. Okay. So these are the scalenus, anterior, middle, and posterior scalenus. The scalenes, okay, and then this right here looks like a fan. It's the serratus anterior. And then the only other thing I think we have to do here is, again, you find a pocket. This one's been ripped so many times, people are pulling on it too much. That right there is a pocket, okay? And so we have the external and the internal intercostal, okay? We're not going to play games with those, okay? Not practical. You can rest assured that's going to not happen. Okay. So that's where you should be, okay? Again, you may have to come in extra to get some of this done, okay? The faster you get it done, the more time you have to review. That's the idea, okay? So I'm going to show you what I hope to get you to do today, the neck, okay? The neck, the problem is that we have the platysma muscle, which is attached to the jawline right here, that kind of comes down with the skin. So some of it may still be there. So there would be this kind of overlying muscle that'll go like that, okay? What we want, though, is down a little deeper, okay? You see all these veins right here? They're good markers. Everything we want is below those veins. Anything above that you can get rid of, okay? So what you're going to see is there's damage here from them cutting into where the carotids and the jugular is on one side in order to put these guys in. So they've done quite a bit of damage because they don't care when they do this. They're getting paid by the cat, I think, okay? So they go very quickly. This one has some damage right here. This muscle right here, you can see the piece of it has been sliced through, okay? So it looks like a double band. That's what it's going to look like. It goes right, if you stretch the neck out, it goes right from the sternum right to the hyoid bone, which is right underneath that nice transverse jugular right there, okay? So this is the sternohyoid, okay? If you push that to the side and clear this big muscle from the side, you'll see this other muscle right here, much thinner, much smaller. Goes from the sternum to the thyroid cartilage, okay? So that's the sternothyroid. Then we have that last one right here, if I can grab it without breaking it. Right there. That goes from the thyroid cartilage to the sternum, so that's the thyrohyoid. Slow down and think about them, okay? Then over here, in a human, this would be one muscle, okay? But in cats, it's two muscles. And again, this thing will have some connective tissue overlying it, so you're not going to see this muscle that's a little deeper, okay? But you'll have to cut through along this edge. Again, find that vein, and it's the muscle right underneath it, okay? This is the sternomastoid, and the other one underneath it is the cleidomastoid. Cleido means clavicle, and the cat's clavicle is embedded in this muscle right here, okay? And this is the trapezius on the backside. We'll come back to that. Save everything underneath these veins. These are lymph nodes and salivary glands, so we want to keep those. Clear the skin off the cheek. Okay, you can do it on one side. This is the masseter muscle. Okay. You come around the back side. The last one is clear it up. When you go to clear this, you probably have lots of extra neck skin right here. Come around and go right between the ears. Now this one took it up a long way. Okay, but if you just cut up alongside that masseter, you'll get to this muscle right here. Okay, which is right in the temple. So that's the temporalis right there. Okay, that's an easy one too. Again, even if you just pull the skin back a little bit so you can see it, that's enough. Okay, you don't have to get that one perfect. All right, come up here to the top of the chin now, again above the hyoid. This is what it's going to look like. You're going to take the skin out, you're going to see this muscle coming across, and these big muscles on either side of the jawline. Just, again, clean them off like that and push them back, okay? So these are the digastrics. Between it is this muscle that comes across the base of the floor of the mouth. That's the mylohyoid. What I want you to do is pull this back enough so you can get your scissors in there and cut it on one side and reflect it back, okay? Now, it is going to adhere along this midline, so you got to be careful, okay? It's going to be like little nippy stuff, okay? You may hit this underlying muscle a little, but should stay. It's fairly thick. That's the geniohyoid. So they all just flap back together, okay? Last thing is to try to do the shoulder. Now again, this one, it's not that hard a dissection, but you have to think about what you're doing, okay? We have the trapezial muscle, which is right here, okay? And this is the latissimus dorsi. Since you already have this one begun, that's where I would start. Follow that in, follow its edge, and then you'll find this. Clean out underneath it, but don't detach it, okay? Clean out on both sides. We want to free them up. That'll lead you to this space here, okay? And then if you put the shoulders together like that, see what happens to the scapula? So that'll push all that material nice and tight, and you can cut right through that membrane that connects them, okay? Cut through it, come over on this side, and again, you'll see a little gap. If you look through the material, you'll be able to see right through it. Cut along there and flap this one back. Down here, there's going to be one strap-like muscle that you don't want to cut. And notice how it goes underneath the other trapezius, okay? So if we flap that one back, that one's nice and free now, and then we just clean up the trapezoid, like you see here, okay? And leave this attached to it, because they're all going into that clavicle that's right there, okay? All right, so that gives us our trapezial muscle then. 1, 2, and 3. They have 3 of them, okay? Clavo, acromio, and spinal trapezius. CAS, College of Arts and Sciences, right? Okay. Same thing is true with the deltoid. We have this right here, okay? We have the one that's attached to the shoulder and this little piece right there. Clavo, acromio, and spinal deltoids, okay? The one that's in between all of that, the one I want you to save, is the levator scapulae. That's the one that's the most in peril today, okay, as you go in there, okay? Once you have all that nice and free, this will now move nice, okay? Okay, so we can pull this flap up, and what I'm looking at is the scapula. So think about the fossae. We have the supraspinatus, the infraspinatus, okay, and the subscapularis, right? Hanging off the scapula, right here, is a really big muscle. That's the teres major. And then underneath the spinal deltoid, right in the corner, that little tiny muscle right there is the teres minor. In a human, it's a lot bigger, and it makes up part of the inferior border of the rotator cuff. But, again, it's small like that, because they don't rotate. Put them in the praying position again, okay, and since you have that cut already, this will open up nice. And again, this work is actually pretty easy, because all you take is your probe and just go through the lines, okay? And this one will come up pretty easily. It's just going to be adhered like that at first. You have the rhomboideus and the rhomboideus capitis, okay, goes to the head. And then on the neck, that I'm not going to do anything with, that's the splenius. Okay? Right there on the neck. That's it.